I do want to get some draft talk in because you specifically, again, covers the draft for the Draft Network, and they do, you and the rest of the team over there do a fantastic job. Two big questions for you, really. As we stand here a little past halfway the college football season, Will Campbell, Kelvin Banks, I'll even throw Aireontae Ersery in there because he's starting to get some buzz. How do you rank them? How do you rank those three?
I think the big concern on Campbell and Banks for me, and you've probably heard this already, but everyone you talk to seems to be like 50-50 that they're going to be guards. Like there's just, I feel for the Patriots because certainly, they've got the top 3 potential pick. They've got the quarterback in place. We know the struggles they've got. They would love to just sit there and take a tackle, 2 or 3 overall and forget about it. But there's a real chance that both those guys are going to be viewed as guards at the next level. This is not as straightforward as I think we thought it was going to be in like June, July.
Sorry to cut you off, but like Campbell, I get, like there's questions about his arm length and you can physically see that. And under 33 inches, like most guys play guard. Understood. Kelvin Banks seems physically built ideally to play tackle. I've seen some people say maybe he's too short at 6'4", but I've also seen some people say Will Campbell's too tall at 6'6". So like, where does the guard talk come from with Banks? I really haven't seen a good defense of it. It seems to mostly just be like, oh, well, he looks like a guard to me.
Well, the height thing has come up in some of the conversations I've had. And I don't know that I necessarily agree with this, but I had a scout last week tell me I like him in a phone booth. I don't know that I'm going to be able to trust him out there on the edge on an island. I think he's a phone booth guy. I think he's a great run blocker. You get him in the interior, and that's where I like him. So I had a scout say that last week, but pretty consistently across the board, I've heard the guard thing is a very real possibility for both of them. I'm so glad you threw Ersery's name into that mix. I just had him go like top 6 or 7 in the mock draft. I dropped on the Draft Network on Sunday evening. I think there's a non-zero chance that he's the best natural tackle in this class. There are no questions with what position he's going to play. Like, I think he's a left tackle at the next level. And I think there's a non-zero chance that he is the best pure tackle prospect in this draft.
Okay, so the best tackle in this draft, but everybody looks at last year and you had Joe Alt, who was like plug and play, right? And Will Campbell and Kelvin Banks were kind of advertised as, day one, that's your blindside blocker, you're set. Is Ersery, is he a day one NFL left tackle?
I think he can be, yeah. I don't know that he's going to rise all the way up there. Is he 3rd, 4th, 5th overall? I'm not there yet, but I think I think he's a first-round tackle, no doubt about it. How high he goes. It was a shame, the Ohio State kid, by the way. He had the season-ending injury. Yeah. I thought he was coming on really strong and was kind of entering this conversation. There's the kid at Oregon I think deserves a bit more buzz than he's getting, Josh Connerly Jr. Have you seen this kid at Purdue? I think he's really freaking good, and people are not talking enough about him. I really like the Purdue guy. I'm starting to see some second-round buzz on him. I'm wondering if he can go even higher than that.
Again, we're talking to Just Melo, right? Last one. Some Patriots fans right now, the dream scenario, because they need a receiver too, is can you get McMillan, trade back a little bit if they end up 1-2 in the draft, get McMillan, then move back up and get Ersery. What are your thoughts on McMillan? And do you think if the Patriots end up in the top 3, there would be a way to double dip on those two guys?
Yeah, I mean, look, Ersery right now, if you're kind of paying attention to the consensus, it's like 25, 26 overall. I do think there's a chance he goes significantly higher than that. But if that's the range he ends up in, then yeah, the Patriots, why can't they trade back? I don't think McMillan's going to go as high as people think. I don't think he's going 2, 3, 4 overall. So absolutely, if they end up in that range, they could trade back, still get McMillan. And then if Ersery does stick in that 2025 range, move back up. If they're trading back, they're going to have the ammo to come back up, right? That's certainly a possibility. And then I think there are some tackles alternatively that might be there at the top of the second round. Some of those guys we just talked about, a Connerly, a Simmons, who's now dealing with the injury at Ohio State, the Purdue kid. I know he's a right tackle, but Emory Jones, LSU, maybe he's there at 34, 35 overall still. So they're certainly going to have options. And hey, don't sleep on the fact that maybe you take Travis Hunter at 2, 3 overall, and you're still getting your tackle at 35, right? I think that's a very real possibility as well.
Well, so just here, why don't you think McMillan's going to go as high as he's projected right now?
I think Hunter's going to be the first receiver drafted. I think we're going to see a lot of those edge guys taken early as well. I think Jalen Water from Georgia is going earlier. I think Pierce is having a much better year than people realize. I still think Michael Williams, I'm high on him. I think Hunter's going to play receiver, so I've got him at receiver 1. Quarterbacks always play a role in this. Like, before we know it, we just named 8, 9, 10 guys that could go before McMillan do. So I don't think he's going, and we're like, Jamar Chase went 5th overall, right? Like, I don't think we're talking about that caliber of prospect when we talk about McMillan. I'm very intrigued. I think, prototypical X tendencies, but no, I don't think we're talking about the 2nd, 3rd, or even 4th overall pick in the draft. You see mocks where he's going 2021. Not that I put a lot of stock in that, but I certainly see a scenario where it's as, late as, in that 10 to 16 overall range. Not so much, Patriots taking him at 2 or 3.
He is Justin Melo. Remind the people where they can find your work.
Follow me on X, Twitter, at JustinM_NFL. You don't got to be a Titans guy to follow me, as Alex knows here. I report on a lot of pre-draft visits, a lot of, Patriots breaking news, February, March, April. Hey, they had this guy inside the building for a top 30 private visit. Guys they're interviewing at the All-Star games. Go get the new book. You're probably not a Titans guy if you're watching this, but Titans of the South is available now where all books are sold. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, you name it. And there's a lot of NFL history in there from 1960 to 2023. AFL, merger in 70, all that good stuff. So really proud about how it came out.
Justin, thanks for joining us today.
Pleasure's all mine as always, Alex.